Hello there. Welcome to another episode of Kinstretch with the Fitness Alchemists. But I'm joined here by one of my favorite people. This is my sister Corey. And I was able to rope her in to do a little Kinstretch modeling for me today, specifically for a knee class. So for today, we're really going to work on the basic motions of the knee, the rotation of the knee, incorporate some knee cars, some hip work. In terms of props, you're going to want to grab a yoga strap or similar. So something like this, a belt could work well, just anything that's going to allow you to pull against your shin real tight. So you'll see that when we get there. If you need to pause and grab a prop that'll work, that works. Also, yoga block, great idea to support your knee and some side lying. And then a little later on, you're going to want a chair or a stool. We're going to use an apple box just to support your upper body weight while you are working on some knee work from a standing position. All right, so we'll get into that. To start, I want you to come into a quadruped position with your one leg kicked out to the side. Doesn't matter which leg because we're going to do both. So just quadruped, kick that leg out to the side, and try to get that leg straight out perpendicular to the side. So if you want to walk it, until you maybe feel a little stretch in your hamstring. Good. And then if you are someone who your wrists are bugging you, you could definitely come on to elbows on a ottoman or something like that, and that works as well. Make your hands feel heavy here. Really engage that contraction, and then also engage your straight leg pressing into the floor. So you feel the tension build in your body, and then start tilting your pelvis, trying to keep your upper back still, and just finding the motion you can get from your pelvis. Good. And the real idea here is that as you tilt, the muscles that create pressure through that straight leg are going to shift a little bit. Which muscles need to engage? So just moving smooth and feeling that straight leg staying heavy the whole time. Good. And just working another 15 seconds here, warming up your spine. It's always useful to remember that most of your nervous system is stored in your spine, so we want to warm up that nervous system. Last couple tilts here, and then let that relax. Good, and breathe, bring that leg in, and we'll kickstand the other leg out. If you want to just turn and face that way, and then, kick that other leg out to the side. Find a way to stretch that inner thigh a little bit so you have a nice open abducted hip out to the side. And then when you feel that inner thigh stretch, create some pressure through your hands. Don't worry too much about the position of your foot for now. You're just trying to create that downward pressure. Once you feel that, start your pelvic tilt, feeling your tailbone curl under, and then reach up. And the whole time, keeping that pressure through your hands and that pressure through your straight leg foot. Very good. Letting this be a medium effort to start so that you're just building some heat in your body, building some awareness of the contraction that you're finding, and maybe feeling some contraction or tension through the inside of the knee joint. If you're dealing with some knee discomfort, this can sometimes feel like a real end range position. Going slow. Good. And go ahead and relax that. Nice. All right, so then come into a seated position. You could lean up against the couch or against the wall. We have this beautiful wall, so I'm going to have Corey do that. And we're going to just warm up that rotation of the knee joint. So from here, find a comfortable angle of bend in that knee. And then find the position where you can make sure your heel can get heavy. So sometimes if your knee is too bent, you're not able to create that pressure. So just find that position. Do a little test and feel what it feels like to create pressure down into the floor with your heel. All right? What we always want to think about is like you're dragging your heel towards you, but the floor is blocked. Yeah. So once you feel that contract, place your hands on the underside of your thigh so that you can tune into the hamstring tissues that will actually do this rotation. So start rotating your shin. There we go. And keep that heel pressure the same throughout. Nice. Now, when I say that, realize that different muscles are going to work to create pressure when your shin's rotated out compared to the muscles that work to create that contraction when your shin is rotated in. Yeah, good. Okay, and as you keep going, try to get a feel for your hamstrings specifically, which are really what does this rotation. You'll feel some on the outside, and then you'll feel some on the inside, and I want you to get connected to both sides. Last few reps, you might notice Corey's doing a good example of this. We all have much more rotation going outward than going inward, so whatever you're able to find is fine, but that can just clear up any insecurity. Go ahead, relax. Sometimes people will be like, I have so little internal rotation. 10 or 15 degrees is normal, so all good. Let's switch over to the other side. Find that angle of knee bend that allows you to create some heel pressure, heel drag pressure into the floor. And then once you feel that, start rotating your shin. Yeah, very nice. Good. Now, Corey's done quite a few of these so far, so she has a good control of not letting the thigh move, but that's one thing to look out for if you're new to these, is that the thigh will try to move side to side as you ask for that shin rotation. So the hands being behind the thigh can help you limit that motion of your thigh side to side.
This one has so much less.
Yeah, and tuning into how one side might be different. Corey's noticing this left leg has a bit less rotation. And if you have a problematic knee, that's one of the first things to notice. Does it actually have the ability to rotate or not? And if it doesn't, that's going to be your first priority, is to get that knee to start being able to rotate. Good. Nice. All right, and let that side go. Okay, so we're going to go back to the first side, but instead of having that knee at just sort of a neutral angle, we're going to now engage the knee at a little longer angle. So straighten the leg out almost all the way to straight, but not to a locked position. So you don't want to feel the back of your knee on the ground. What you're looking for is how straight can you get your leg and still create that heel pulling sensation. And this is really where you want to take your fingers and place them right behind your hamstrings. So kind of on either side here, yes. Because when you create that heel pressure, you should feel those tendons kind of turn on. If you don't feel them, then bend your knee a little bit more until you can find them. Yeah. Okay. Now this is going to be a much smaller motion, but we're going to do that same tibial rotation from a longer hamstring position or a straighter knee position. Okay. Good. And just getting a feel for that. Keep thinking that your heel, or rather your foot, is in a boot, so your foot moves with your shin. There we go, and it's okay that it's much less motion. We would expect that from a straighter knee. Last 15 seconds, just really tune into that contraction on the back of the hamstring, back of the thigh. Great stuff. And relax. Okay, now, are you getting any discomfort, pain in the back of the thigh? Okay, so if you were someone who has some, just fire. If you were having some real discomfort in either of those sides, this is a really nice way to get that tissue to play nice. Essentially, you would just find a stretch in that uncomfortable tissue and then create that pressure and hold it and avoid the motion side to side. So for now, just finding that rotation, but keep it in mind, this is a nice kind of therapeutic way to work on your hamstrings. All right, so leg is not quite straight, just a little bend. Find that heel pressure into the ground. And then start rotating your shin, just like we were working a second ago, using your hands to guide the contraction you want. Yeah, really good. Good. Yeah, you're getting a little hip sensation too. Ding, ding, ding. We need the cramp bell. Good. Yeah, and just throwing out some other cues that sometimes help. Sometimes it can make sense to feel like you're pulling your ankle bone towards your butt. So like that ankle bone rather than just your heel. That can sometimes click for your brain in a different way. There you go. Yeah, very nice. Glad you practiced so many knee cars. All right, and let that go. Okay, and we're gonna do just one more kind of variation on rotation. This is where you're gonna wanna grab your strap or your band. You're gonna place this right around the base of your ankle and then go back to your neutral position for your knee. All right, so like a 90-degree angle at the knee. Good. Oh, thanks, perfect. You can get a little view. All right. So whereas before, yeah, nice and low, and you can bring your hands out wider too. Yep, so there we go. So whereas before we were working a bit on trying to bend that knee and the floor was in the way, now I want you to think about trying to straighten your knee, but the strap is in the way. So you're trying to do one of these, but the strap or the belt doesn't let you do it. So you really want to engage that upper body strength to make sure that this is a legit effort through your knee joint. You feel that?
Yeah, actually lift it or just?
Nope, just create that signal to turn on all the tissue around the front of the knee. And just for starters, warm that up with just a contraction. So you're starting to ramp up that kicking motion. Nothing's able to move. And then ramp it down. Okay? So most common knee pain or knee discomfort is around this exact tissue. So if you're starting to feel that area get bugged by this motion, I want you to just ditch the band and rotate, or just work on ramping contraction. Ramping it up, ramping it down, nothing moves, all right? But this is feeling okay for you, right? So for if it's feeling all right, you're gonna ramp up that contraction, trying to kick into the band, and then you're gonna start that same rotation. It's just gonna feel very different because now this is the tissue you're focusing on rather than the back of the knee. Yes. Okay. If this is really hard to connect, you're not feeling it, then again, go back to that first variation we did with the heel pressure into the floor. Really nice. All we're trying to do is talk to the lengthening tissue here that can get very beat up and help it come back into the fold of controlled motion. Just 10 more seconds. Try to feel some fatigue building here. Yeah, good. And relax it. Nice. Okay, so let that side go. And then set up on the other side. So you find the knee bend and the placement low on your shin. Once you get there, test it by ramping up the feeling like you're trying to kick your leg, but the band is firmly keeping the leg in place. Good. Once you feel that smooth, ramped up contraction, if it feels safe, go ahead and start rotating side to side. If it feels a little sketchy, good variable is just to ramp it up and ramp it down and not have any motion.
So much less mobility.
Yeah. Yeah, so on those joints where you're noticing less motion, spend the same amount of effort in terms of moving to a complete stop. So really track how much can you rotate in, how much can you rotate out. Of course, there's that temptation to go, oh man, this is my crappy knee or whatever. But there might be a very good reason that mobility is limited on that side. Maybe an old injury, maybe something else going on up the chain in your hip or in your ankle. So we really just want to grab control of what we have today. Last couple, keep trying to press that shin into the band to feel that quad tissue and the front of your knee tissue engage. Yeah. Yeah, because you have less motion, but you have really good independent motion. The thigh's not moving at all. All right, and relax. Okay. Go ahead, ditch that band. And we could move forward and do knee cars from here as well, but I'm going to just do knee cars now from a little varied position from the back. So I'm going to have you lay down on your back and maybe go sideways to the camera. So you just, yeah, perfect. Good. And now you might want to use a block, not totally required, but if you need one, I'll have this near at hand. So we're going to do this knee car by flexing this hip, so bring this thigh up towards you, good. And then place your hands right on your thigh and just create a little pressure through your hands so that you feel your hip crease engage, but also your abs to make your back flat on the floor. And the main point here is that you want to keep your thigh and your back really nice and still as we do a knee car. So start by bending this knee as tightly as you can, trying to touch your heel to your butt. Then from there, externally rotate your shin. Keep that rotation going as you start to straighten your leg. Straighten it as far as you can without losing this connection between your hand and your thigh. Then internally rotate the shin and keep adding rotation as you bend. Yeah, really bringing that heel all the way towards your butt, tight as you can. Keep it clasped and externally rotate. Tight, 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 trying to wring it out. Then straighten. Good, Corey, very nice. And internally rotate and bend. Good, really bring that heel as tight as you can and hold it. And now just relax for a moment. Okay, so that's a ton of work going on in the non-moving part of your body, right?
We entered in Kinstretch Hall of Fame.
Yes, yes. One thing you should all know and appreciate is that when Hannah or I model in these, we kind of know what's coming up next. This is like a surprise adventure for Corey. She's like, okay, I'll do that. She's doing great. Okay, let's do the other direction on this same knee. So find that same position. Try to feel your lower back really connect to the floor so you feel your abs. And then bend that knee as tight as you can. Feel the back of your knee contract and internally rotate your shin. Yep. And then start straightening, trying to hold on to as much internal rotation as you can. And then externally rotate and add external rotation as you bend. Yes, there you go. Very nice. Good. Then internally rotate. Keep adding internal rotation as you straighten. And then externally rotate and add external rotation as you bend. Really tight, keep working to a complete stop, then relax. Good. All right, and go ahead, turn around so that they can see your other leg. Just swip it around. One thing I feel like I should share is that growing up, she taught me a ton of stuff and made me go through a lot of lessons. So this is sort of like fair play, I think.
Long vowels for Kinstretch.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, good. Phonics. All right, so on this side, same thing. Find that flat back position. Bring that thigh into a flexed position and place your hands right on that thigh. Good. Yeah, nice. And then bend your knee tight as you can. Really feeling active contraction on the back of the knee, and then use that to externally rotate your shin. Yes! Okay, now keep that as you start to straighten. You go for it. Yeah. Good. And then internally rotate and bend. Very nice. Externally rotate. Yeah. Good. And straighten. Yeah, so if you want to switch your grip to the outside of the thigh, if that helps, go for it. The main thing is you want to feel that that thigh bone is not moving at all as you move through your knee car. Good. No worries if you don't get all the way to straight. Okay, and then just take a breather here. Yeah. So this is a good moment to just check in that part of why we love cars so much is that you could do knee cars at an easy level of intensity and just get some motion going, or you could choose a position that's a lot more intense for you, and there would be reasoning to do both. But if you're doing a more intense version, take your moments to take a break so you can keep the quality high. All right, now flat back, feel your abs. If your hands are on the back of your thigh, that's the main thing, is you want to make sure your abs are still on. So bend your knee tightly, internally rotate, then start to straighten. There we go. Externally rotate and bend tightly. Good. And really, as you find that rotation and hold on to that, only straighten the knee as much as you can, keep the thigh still. So you're not letting it run away from you at all. Good. Bend it tight. Last one. Yeah, very good. Start to straighten. Externally rotate and keep adding rotation as you bend. Oh yeah, good. And relax. Okay. So one other thing that was sort of happening there was that all of a sudden you can't clearly see what's going on at your knee. So now you have to do it a bit more by feel from your brain. And that'll become pretty important here in just a moment. Go ahead and come now to a side lying position. We're going to work a little further up the chain in the, for the hip. So you can throw a block or a pillow underneath your head. And find whatever bracing strategy feels best for you for this first rep. So pressing into the floor, hugging your arms, just play around until you clearly feel your spinal muscles turn on and engage. And then we're going to move that top leg through its hip car. So drive that heel behind you as far as you can. Start to lift your shin. Cramp? Already cramping. Amazing. Lift that shin. Bring that knee forward smoothly. Yes, great. Sweep it all the way around, trying to almost bring it across the belly button line. And then sweep it against the knee. Pause, and we'll go the other direction. We're going to tick-tock these for the rest of the minute. Yeah. Glad Corey's saying she loves hip cars, in case you couldn't hear. Good, and keep tick-tocking back and forth. Now, since we just did so much work in that hamstring, cramps are very common when we go back into hip extension. So just notice those, flirt with those, all the way around. And keep in mind the goal with the hip car is really to engage all of the muscles around the hip, even the inner thigh muscles or the muscles between the angles that are our strongest positions, like flexion or extension. So all of those little points in between are fair game. Great, and finish up the rep you're on. Good, okay. Now we're gonna stay on this side so we can work a little bit here on rotation for this top leg for internal rotation. So bring your bottom leg forward in front of you. And ideally, you're going to want to press into that thigh with your top hand. Yep. Does that feel solid? Yeah. Okay. You could also put a block here. Yep. Okay. We've got another pillow for your head. Okay. So a little block to press. And again, this is just to help you really feel your midsection turn on. All right. And then you're going to drive your top leg behind you and find the most extended position you can. So really driving that leg back. Notice what this feels like. Feel a stretch across the front of your hip. And then we're going to, in a moment, prop this position up. So just hold this, feel it. Now relax. Corey has a little prop concierge. I'm going to come around. And you're going to want to put either a yoga block or something that's going to support underneath your knee. So now when she drives her knee back, there's going to be a little support there. You can set the knee down right at end range extension. Okay? So if you need to, pause the video and get yourself set up like this, where your knee is supported. Okay? Now when you're ready, we're going to brace even more than we were for the hip car. You're going to keep the thigh on the block, but just make it feel light. So you turn on the muscles in your hip, and then use that sensation to start rotating your thigh to lift your ankle while your knee stays on the block. Find the highest position you can, and then smoothly lower like your ankle's attached to a parachute. Pop it right back up, high as you can, and then smoothly lower. Good. Keep working like this for 30 more seconds, and you want to let that ankle lower as low as you can. So she's sort of running into the box here, but you might go all the way to the floor. That's totally fine. Good. The real work is going to happen at the top, where your thigh is reaching its end range internal rotation. Good. Last 10 seconds. Really zooming in and making sure nothing is moving at the pelvis. You're just moving that hip joint for 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. I caught her. Okay. Now let's flip over and do the hip car and the rotation work from the other side. Sweet. There you go. Yeah, perfect. Okay. All right, so start here. Corey, just come this way towards the wall a little bit. So a little bit. And then make sure you can hit, you can just turn here so you don't hit the wall. Yeah, perfect. Okay, so find your brace of choice. Medium effort is great to start. And find that hip car. We're going to start with 1 minute tick-tocking your hip car, starting back behind you, finding that extension, lifting your shin to the ceiling, keeping your torso braced as you bring your knee forward. Good. all the way around, trying to bring your knee across the midline of your body so that you're scraping against your bottom thigh, and then take it the other way. Good. And as that leg heads behind you, really double down on your brace to make sure your pelvis isn't turning to face behind you. Yes, good. Very good. 30 more seconds. Really tuning into all those muscles waking up around your hip socket. If there are any sensations that are new, feel free to always pause there, tune into them. We're working just for 10 more seconds. So you can finish up the rep you're on. Staying smooth and relax. Nice, okay? So again, we're gonna work here from end range hip extension. So start driving that knee back behind you. Yep, good, okay. And then wherever your end range extension is, you're gonna wanna prop up a block there, or prop up with a block. So we're using a box, but you could use a yoga block. And then before we start these rotations, just get that bottom leg flexed up so you can press it with your top arm and create that really strong brace. So now turn on that brace even hotter than you had previous for the hip car. Hold on to that, and now we start rotating the top thigh, getting that ankle as high as you can without losing contact with the block with your thigh. Then smoothly lower. Good. Up with power, so you really feel that max contraction, and then smoothly lower. Excellent job. Again, if you're finding less motion on one side or the other, that's totally okay. That is what you have to work with. The key is to work within that amount of motion as with the highest quality contractions that you can find. So keep searching for that max effort and then a smooth lowering. That really helps your brain tune into what we're asking for. Great stuff. Good. And one more rep. Really give it your all. Find that top position and then lower with as much control as you can. Nice. Okay. Now we're going to stay inside lying here for just a moment, but we're going to shift which leg we're working. So I'm going to take this block away, Cora. All right. And for this setup, you're going to now want to extend your bottom leg as far behind you as you can, like you're trying to kick the wall behind you, okay? And then you're going to want your top knee to be blocked up with a block. So, yeah, are you able to do that? You want another pillow under your head, or are you good? Okay, cool. So the idea here is now this is the top leg is the non-moving leg, so you want to just get it propped and feel comfortable. Whatever setup feels strong for you. And then this bottom leg is going to sweep back as far as you can. Again, just not letting your spine jump in on that extension. All right. Now from here, get a taster of how much can you rotate this bottom leg to really lift that ankle. This is now external rotation of your hip, and then smoothly lower it down. All right. So go ahead and just do a couple reps. And what we're looking for is how far off the ground can you lift that ankle? Corey's getting a good like maybe 10, 12, 15 inches. So I'm going to prop it up for her, boom, so that as she lowers, it's a much smaller motion to get to her end range. If you were barely getting off the floor, then you can just work from the floor. If your ankle, on the other hand, was getting like almost straight up to the ceiling, then you might scooch back and just set your heel against a wall so that you're lifting off of that wall. And that'll help you get to your end range. Okay, now set down. We're going to again turn on a really strong brace, much stronger than we had for the hip car. And then trying to feel right from the hip, create that rotation, lift the heel as high as you can. Try to cramp those muscles right at your inner thigh, and then smoothly lower. Up with power, smoothly lower. And as you keep going with this, Corey's doing a nice job, but the compensation usually is that your bottom thigh tries to sneak forward. So don't let that thigh bone move except to rotate. Good. 10 more seconds. Find that complete stop at the top. And then smoothly lower. 3, 2, 1, and relax. I'm gonna move this block. Good. All right. And let's head over to the other side. So you can just turn, legs go that way. All right. Now, one thing to keep in mind is, like, why are we working on the hips when the knees are the focus? You can face the camera. Very often, the knees are destabilized by lack of tissue control at the hip joint. So that's really what you're wanting to tune in here. You're going to set this position up by bringing your top knee in front of you and place it on a block. Okay, and then scoot your bottom leg behind you into extension. Good. You can bend that knee and just drive the heel back as far as you can. Might flirt with some cramping. Okay, and then here's our taster reps, just to see how much rotation is available here. Start rotating that bottom thigh to lift your ankle off the ground. Good. And then smoothly lower it down. Nice. Try again here. And I'm going to just prop up and set down. Okay? So Corey, just chill for a second. Those of you watching along, go ahead and take a moment to get your best setup. So get that block or scooch back to the wall so your heel is set up on the wall. Then let's turn up the contraction in your body, really nice and strong. Feeling your abs brace, maybe pushing your top knee down nice and firm. And then let's rotate the bottom leg. Good. 30 seconds, maximum effort, passive range liftoff, and then a smooth lower. Good. Each rep, keeping that bottom thigh as far back behind you as you can, and just tuning into that rotation ability, flirting with any cramps you might feel in your inner thigh, your hamstring. Good. Very nice. Last 10 seconds. Even on the way down, feel those muscles working, but just slowly lowering the foot. Last lift off, lift and hold. Make sure it's max effort and smoothly lower and relax. Awesome work. Okay, go ahead, come out of that position. All right, so now we're going to wrap things up by coming up to standing and trying to connect those knee dynamics to the standing positions that we all live in every day. So for this part, you're going to want that low stool, or a chair works fine. Again, we're going to use an apple box. You just want something to lean your body weight into. And you're going to set that right out and step, let's do your left leg first. Step that left foot right next to that support, okay? And then work to bend your knee. It doesn't have to be super bent. You just want to make sure you have a good degree of flexion in that knee. And then really put weight into your hands. That's both to help take too much demand off of the leg, and also to make sure your spine feels supported, so you don't feel like you're really working your lower back. All right? First thing we're going to do here is contract that ankle to lift your forefoot, like gas pedal up. Keep that knee forward, right over your heel. Yup. And then let's start rotating the shin, just like we were working on before, back and forth. And again, Corey's doing this great, but your thigh will try to move here. So really keep that thigh still. It can help to make the arm on that side really nice and heavy and find contraction down the whole side of your body. That should help you feel your thigh stay still. Just 10 more seconds, rotating that shin, not letting the thigh move. It's pretty intense. For 5, 4, 3, 2, and relax. Good. Come up to standing, shake your hands out, give yourself a little breather. We'll do the same thing on the other side. So you have a little ability to vary how intense this exercise is. Once you set up with that foot forward, the knee is bent, hands feel nice and secure. Lift your forefoot, and then you get to decide how much pressure do you put through your heel. More pressure will make this exercise harder. Less pressure, a little less hard on your knee. Okay, so start up that rotation of your shin. Feeling the thigh stay still. And really just getting as much rotation of that knee joint as possible. Good. Very good. Good. Keep that knee bent forward. It's going to try to come backwards, so bring that knee forward. Yes. Good. Watch out for your leg trying to straighten out. Last 10 seconds. There we go. Trying to feel what muscles are working in the back of the thigh, even connecting to the hip, that create this rotation.
Well, I know what muscles.
Yeah, you feeling them? Good, good, good. All right, and relax, shake it out. Okay, now this last one is one of those frustrating Kinstretch movements where you might not actually see any motion. There's very little motion available when we do this, but it's just building off of what we've been working on today. So really tune into the contraction sensations. I'm actually going to swing around to the other side. All right, so same setup on that left leg. This time you are going to plant your whole foot, so heel and forefoot on the ground. Really feel strong. Bend that knee so that it's right over your heel or maybe over your foot, and really put pressure through that leg. So you're like trying to leave a footprint on the ground, supporting yourself with your arms. And now start running the knee rotation program in your head, not letting the thigh move, not letting the foot rotate, but just asking for rotation from your knee joint. Now again, you might have zero movement, but I guarantee you can contract those same muscles that would rotate your shin if your foot was free to move, and that's really what we're working. Okay. Good. Last 10 seconds. Spending that effort, spending that focus on trying to create rotation between your knee and your ankle. 3, 2, 1, and relax. Good. Okay. Try the other side. A lot going on here. So taking a moment to feel your body, maybe note any questions to follow up with us about, and set up this other leg.
Do you guys like to get comments?
Oh, we love comments. We love questions. One thing I was just thinking here on this side is that if you're really having trouble feeling your thigh not move, you could try to connect your thigh to your hand, because now nothing's going to move. Yeah, so that might feel nice and strong depending on the shape of the object you're using. So foot is planted, thigh stays still, and start running that shin rotation program. Good. Very nice. And if your foot moves a little bit, that's all right, because we're training the ankle and the midfoot joint along with the knee joint when the foot connects to the floor like this. So we're starting to incorporate some more of that standing structure. 15 more seconds. If you're getting lost, just try to replay that rotation program, that tibial rotation idea we started with today. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, let it go. Very nice work. Again, if any questions came up about your knees or about these directions, please let us know. And thank you, Corey. Lovely to work with you. And we'll see you soon.